Rosenberg. As you all know, Dr. Rosenberg has organized this conference. He has done a brilliant job, which personally I couldn't do that. So, as he introduced me, yes, I'm the chairperson and the head of scientific committee. I'm sure that all of you are ahead of me in terms of, science and everything. But I think I just take responsibilities for everything. But I appreciate all of you in here. So warmest greetings from Canada to my distinguished colleagues, dear guests, and participants. Welcome to the Bioquantum Academy International Conference in Integrative Medicine for Treating Chronic Diseases in April 5th and 6th, 2024. During this conference, we converge to explore the dynamic intersection of natural medicine and integral approach to healthcare. I'm truly honored to stand before this gathering of scientists, doctors, professionals, experts, and participants who share a common passion for natural healing modalities and holistic well-being. In our pursuit of a healthier and more balanced world, this conference serves as a melting pot of ideas, a platform for innovations, and a forum for the exchange of knowledge that breaks the boundaries of relying only on the mainstream of synthetic drugs to treat chronic diseases. Together, we embark on exploring to integrate the best of modalities from ancient wisdom and modern science in order to enhance the quality of life for people across the globe. We are where science meets wisdom. Over the next 2 days of conference, we will delve into groundbreaking research, engage in scientific discussions, and create connections to establish a foundation for our scientific endeavor. Our collective commitment to advancing natural healing modalities under the umbrella of integrative medicine will transform and shape the future of healthcare, inspiring a paradigm shift towards a more holistic, comprehensive, and patient-centered approach. We have promised people to transform the healthcare system, and we are keeping our promise. Let us unite as one giant global scientific community to pave the way for a healthier and brighter future for now and the next generations to come. As we commence this conference, let us open our minds and hearts to the endless possibilities that lie at the crossroads of traditional medicine and scientific innovations. Thank you for joining us to be a part of this transformative global movement. Let the 2024 International Integrative Medicine Conference begin. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Parvin Zarrin, for this nice introductory speech, for opening our opening ceremony. Please give me the possibility to say also some kind words to the participants. Dear Dr. Parvin Zarrin, dear colleagues and distinguished guests, speakers, and participants, it is a great pleasure and honor for me to welcome you to the International Online Conference on Integrative Medicine in the Prevention and Treatment of Chronic Disease. As the head of the organizing committee, alongside the esteemed members of the Faculty of Bioquantum Academy, we are thrilled to bring together specialists from various corners of the globe to delve into the realm of integrative medicine. Today, we embark on a journey that transcends borders and unites us in a common goal, the pursuit of holistic healing and well-being. Integrative medicine, with its foundation and in the wisdom of natural and holistic approach, offers us a unique perspective on health and healing. Throughout this conference, we will have the privilege of learning from experts hailing from Canada, from the United States, Australia, Romania, Hungary, India, Pakistan, and Switzerland. Their diverse background and experience enrich our discussions and broaden our understanding of how we can combat chronic disease through a comprehensive and integrative approach. I extend my deepest gratitude to all the speakers, because our speakers are the stars of this conference, to the participants and supporters who have made this conference possible. May our discussions be enlightening, our interaction inspiring, and our endeavors towards integrative medicine transformative. Thank you, and let us embark on this journey of discovery and healing together. Thank you for all the participants of our conference. Because Dr. June Kelly is she is not present, if I understand from Dr. Parvin Zarrin. Yes?
She just called. Actually, she sent the PowerPoints to me yesterday, and everything was okay, but I think there is a problem with technical issues she had to get into Zoom. But again, we'll leave it for next time, because I don't want to speak for her. The only thing I would like to say that Quantum Academy has been endorsed by the examining Board of Natural Medicine Practitioners Canada, EBNMP, for the high standard for scope of practice, for the standards of educations. And she just wanted to come to introduce us more to the world. And on the other hand, Quantum Academy is getting more certification titles for almost all natural modalities that we offer. We're getting more certification titles from the board. So far, homeopathy had, for example, every modality can go under natural medicine practitioners, but not homeopathy in Canada. And homeopathy had to have its own certification title, which I really ought to get it through the board, and board is finally got it. And she wanted to talk about this today, but fortunately, all the modalities that Quantum Academy is offering now has certification titles, Canadian certification titles, American certification titles, and the board also is looking to European certification titles. So because we are offering international programs, and that's why we are moving forward, and we would like to have certification titles around the world. So that's the thing. I can't speak more than that, but Quantum Academy is working so hard in order to protect the practitioners and all our graduates who are coming out of the school. That's a huge protection, and we are practicing in a scope of laws, bylaws, and regulations. And we are much familiar with the regulation in Canada and the United States. But we are getting more familiar in Europe as well. And so at this point, we want all our graduates around the world end up granting a certification title. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Parvin Zarrin. Thank you. And in this moment, our conference starts with the first scientific session.
I hope it's not me.
But you are the first, Dr. Parvin Zarrin, the Dean of the Faculty of Bioquantum Academy, will present a very interesting study about with the title, The Science and the Art of Homeopathy. Please, Dr. Parvin Zarrin.
Again, me?
Yeah, sure. You are the first. In
It's
the
always me
program,
first.
you must respect the program. We start the conference now.
Okay, let me just, thank you so much, Dr. Rosenberg, for your introductions. I always wish not to go first, but somehow they always put me first. So everybody has my my slides. Everybody sees.
Yes.
Okay, everybody hears me.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay. For some of you who don't know me, yes, I'm Dr. Zarrin, the founder of Homeopathy Nutrition Clinic in 2004, the founder of Integrative Medicine and Nutrition in 2015, and founder of Bioquantum Academy in 2018. And I'm honored to be the chairperson and the head of scientific committee at this gathering. And my topic is on the science and art of homeopathy. And I think everybody knows that so many actually know about my perspective, and also my view on system, the healthcare system of medicine, and on homeopathy as well, and how homeopathy can beautifully treat chronic diseases in very short time. Okay. I would like to thank all the Bioquantum Academy team, which without you, we couldn't be here. You are the pillar of strength of the Bioquantum Academy, and I truly appreciate every single thing you have done to bring us to this moment. So when I was, hello? So when I want to talk about homeopathy, I'm the kind of person that I always want proof. When I got into school of homeopathy 20 some years ago, I was jumped in the ocean to swim without even know swimming. And they just told me, this is homeopathy, this is homeopathy, this is materia medica, this is repertory. And imagine you're coming from a concept of contrary, a concept of opposite that we used to have through our childhood. All of a sudden, you come into the concept of similar or like cures like. It's not an easy thing to understand. But back then, even maybe the professors didn't have much of scientific data to offer to the students. That's why there were confusion in the beginning. But from the moment that I started, I always wanted to know what is this? What is homeopathy? It's not only the concept and principles and the laws, which everybody knows, but what kind of science is behind it? Because I heard a lot that homeopathy is placebo. I heard a lot that homeopathy doesn't work. So since I became a homeopath, I think I took thorough research on my own, because homeopathy is not funded, is not supported in the mainstream medicine or mainstream research. And all homeopaths who are dedicated, they have done it and they're doing it on their own. Homeopathy is not a job for me, and it's not a profession for me. It's the truth, and the truth needs proofs. In terms of proof, clinical proofs, I have hundreds and hundreds cured cases in my practice in the past 2 decades. And I share the cured cases on so many global conferences. and so many meetings. But when it comes to teaching it to especially the different-minded doctors, you need a good, solid scientific proof. So that's why the solid supporting information to bring it on. So practicing it is different than teaching it. Practicing it, people who come to you, you can tell them that because we have proof that homeopathy works. But when you want to teach it, especially to doctors, you need to have scientific data. You need to have enough supporting information to share with them, because homeopathy works, but how it works, this is the question. Homeopathy has not been supported, as I said, by the mainstream research and medical model. Homeopaths have been investing their own research study and on their own pace and their own costs to find the pieces of puzzles in order to collect scientific data and bring clarity into the scientific domain. I have started my own research from clinical proving on homeopathic medicine on myself. I proved almost 16 remedies on myself, which is not pleasant at all. But I just wanted to prove it to myself, because I'm not a person to be limited to textbooks. I have to have the practical knowledge, and I have to have scientific knowledge in order to personally accept it. I have done intensive research study on the topic of obesity and treatment by homeopathic medicine for my PhD, which was one of the most successful things I've ever done. And I've been keep searching and looking for the missing pieces of puzzle. So they always say homeopathy is mystery. It's a puzzle, but it's not a mystery. It's a pure science and art, the art of practicing it and the science behind it. As all the areas of science are evolving, so is homeopathy, and we evolve as well. There are areas that are included in my research that I came to conviction. I came to the solid conviction that how homeopathy works is the research that I've done on the science of water. I'm not talking about the formula of H2O. I'm talking about this intelligent fluid. This amazing substance that can have numerous amounts of memories on the hydrogen ion. How does it work? So how the water can behave in human body if it's treated well or is treated bad. So what is water? Why the human body is 75% water? If this 75% of human body is throwing tantrums on you and is not serving you, is definitely is not healing you. So the science of water is the base of my research to understand how homeopathy works. Homeopathy works in my practice, but how homeopathy works in my teaching is the topic of my talk today. Science of water, the science of quantum physics, solves the mystery of homeopathy. Again, they say mystery. It's not mystery, because they say it's beyond humans' comprehension. It's beyond the researchers' comprehensions. And they left it unsolved puzzle. But the homeopaths should not play victims anymore and should not be just receding because we are not in the system. Not all homeopaths, they have enough scientific data in order to pass it to people. So that's my message to homeopaths. Don't play victim, just do research. So objective of my talk is homeopathy is not placebo, but a powerful healing medicine, because it activates the human healing ability to cure itself. Homeopaths are not healers. Homeopaths are not prescribers. Homeopaths just gives the right tools to people according to their presenting of totality symptoms to heal themselves. One of the vocabulary that I wanted to in my educational settings to remove from homeopath, please don't call yourself healer. Everybody's their own healer. You're just here to give them the right tools to heal themselves. Fundamental understanding of the science of water, the universal solvent for homeopathic medicine, hydrogen ion capability of storing tremendous amount of memory of cosmos from the beginning of life. How water behaves when it's programmed and energized, explain, energize homeopathic medicine. We cannot teach homeopathic medicine if we don't understand how the water is programmed, how the water is energized. And also about science of homeopathy, which is the science of quantum physics. Homeopathy cannot be explained whatsoever with science of biology, with science of chemistry, with science of classical physics. None of this area can explain homeopathy. Only quantum physics that explains at the subatomic level, not at the molecule or atom, such as classical physics. So far, also quantum physics is like a baby that was born from the mother of classical physics, but it came to rescue the physics. So also quantum physics is evolving. Even the early quantum physics might not be able to explain homeopathy, but I have proof of modern quantum physics that explain clearly with transparency how homeopathy works. Also, my objective is the concept, laws, and principles of homeopathy, because homeopathy's concept says similar diseases, the natural disease and artificial disease by the homeopathic medicine, they cancel each other and they remove each other. It's completely opposite of allopathic model that is contrary to disease, means we go opposite of the disease. We go to fight with the disease. No, that actually it's causing complex diseases, which is not in my talk today, but I can talk about it in the discussion, scientific discussion, that how allopathic model can cause new disease is called complex disease. Medicinal property of homeopathic medicine are not measured as particles, but as waves or quantum objects. This is the main part of my talk, that when they say placebo, because they cannot detect particles. Quantum physics proved it, that homeopathic medicines have the properties as imprint, as waves in homeopathic medicine. Homeopathic medicine, curative safety and efficacy of homeopathic medicine is proven. And what I like always to say that homeopathy is a subtle inoculations in contrary to physical vaccinations. So the water structure is one of the main things that I did thorough research on it. Scientific researchers have continuously credited water for its intelligence, capability of tremendous amounts of memory, and messaging capacity to explain many unsolved mysteries throughout the history of mankind. Physical and chemical phenomena, from genetic functions to intercellular communications and pathways in human, have been relying in water structuring. Water can heal you. Water can make you sick. So water function at a subatomic level. The science of biology and chemistry are not able to explain the water function at subatomic level. They can explain it at the H2O and what is hydrogen, what is oxygen, and also biological function and biochemistry function, but not at subatomic level. Water science of water can only explain it at the biology and chemistry can only explain it at chemical composition, biological and physiological function. So we are so familiar much with what the water does, how much the human bodies contains water. We know so much a lot about what water does in human body, like 92% of blood is water. You know, the baby is in amniotic water. We know what water does, but we don't know at the subatomic level can only be explained by quantum physics. No phenomenon can be explained at the subatomic level by the science of biology, chemistry, and classical physics. Please don't get me wrong that I am not claiming anything against any areas of science. The only thing that I claim here that these areas of science cannot explain homeopathy, and they left it puzzles to people. So that's the reason I keep repeating it. Science of biology, we know that it's the studies of life, about as microorganisms, plants, animals, human beings, and all those things. And science of chemistry deals with the properties, chemical composition, and structure of the elements, but not able, again, to explain homeopathy. The world of physics, it's always, we know that is how universe behaves as a whole. But again, early physics, even Einstein, even the theory of relativity also cannot explain homeopathy. Physics is one of the most fundamental scientific disciplines to understand how the universe behaves. Physics is the study of matter and laws of nature to understand the behavior of matter and the universe. Science of classical physics. The reason I'm saying science of classical physics, because I just wanted to, bring it out that, again, at this level, scientists are stuck to bring scientific data for homeopathy. Science of classical physics studies matter, its fundamental constituents, its motion and behavior through space and time, and the related entities of energy and force. Physics deals with the structure of matter and how the fundamental constituents of the universe interact. So we know that classical Newton physics with the famous laws, which explains everything so well. First law, second law, and third laws of the classical physics, but explains allopathic model. Classical physics can explain the opposite concept, the contrary concept, and but it cannot explain similar concepts. So classical physics cannot explain homeopathy. As I mentioned, I have a lot of information. If you would like to join the discussion panel, so I can share with you that how classical physics can explain allopathic model, but cannot explain homeopathic model. Because allopathic models is based on materialism, reductionism, and determinism, which is completely explained by the laws of by Newtonian's law. And we come to laws of relativity, which is not absolute. So we all know who Einstein is, right? But law of relativity, it brought quantum physics into life. But again, at that point, still, that theory cannot explain homeopathy. Quantum physics is a baby who rescued its mother. As a baby was born from the mother classical physics, because a lot of areas such as homeopathy has remained puzzles up to classical physics, from biology, from chemistry, biochemistry, and classical physics, stuck there. The field of quantum physics came to light in the late 1800s and early 1900s from a series of experimental observation of atoms that did not make initiative sense in the context of classical physics. Quantum physics is considered the hardest part of physics. It is very hard. I read almost 20 books of quantum physics, and I was still puzzled. I was still didn't understand. I had to simplify everything for myself to understand that. It's the very, very hardest part of physics. System with quantum behavior which act weird like water. Water is the most weird substance in the planet Earth. They don't follow the rules that we are used to base on biology and chemistry science. Water, the very simple substance, does not follow the rule of biology and chemistry, because all substances in the cosmos, they contract when they freeze. You freeze them below zero, they contract, but water expands. So how weird a substance can be, again, cannot be explained by biology and chemistry. Why this intelligent, fast water substance in this cosmos acts like weird? Because it doesn't follow the biology and chemistry sides. They're hard to see and hard to feel. They can have controversial features. They exist in several different states at the same time. They even change depending on whether they are observed or not, including water. A lot of areas, principles of quantum physics, such as quantum entanglements, quantum superpositions, quantum tunneling, and uncertainty principles. I did a lot of research on these principles, and it took me years and years to truly understand the entanglement, quantum superpositions, quantum tunneling, and uncertainty principles. Finally, I got to come to understand that one of these principles has to explain homeopathy to me. A fundamental science of quantum physics is a fundamental theory in physics, not provide a description of the physical properties of nature at the scale of atoms and subatomic level. Sorry, I think I read it differently. A fundamental theory in physics that provides a description of the physical properties of nature at the scale of atoms and subatomic levels, not at the scale of atoms and molecules. Quantum physics is the foundation of quantum physics, including quantum chemistry, quantum field theory, quantum technology, and quantum information science. As I mentioned earlier, quantum entanglement, superposition, tunneling, and uncertainty principles. I looked into it, which one can explain to me and which one can bring a piece of the puzzles to me to put them together and understand the science behind homeopathy. Among all the above quantum physics disciplines, uncertainty principles, the outcome possibilities, already explained homeopathy to me. Quantum science may even reveal how everything in the universe or in multiple universes is connected to everything else through higher dimensions that our five senses cannot comprehend. My claim here, if we cannot observe, we cannot claim it does not exist. This was the very first and great piece of puzzles to my research. Quantum science may even reveal, as I read it before, not only we call it universe, but there might be multiple universes that is beyond comprehension of human beings. Uncertainty principles formulated by German physicist Werner Heisenberg in 1927. I went through this principle of uncertainty principle over and over and over to completely get the conviction out of it. Werner Heisenberg developed a key piece of quantum theory, the uncertainty principles with profound implications. The uncertainty principle states that we cannot know both the position and the speed of a particle, such as photon or electron, with perfect accuracy. The more we nail down the particle's position, the less we know about it, less we know about its speed and vice versa. This was the ignite of my research to understand that there is no way that you can detect the position and the speed of particle at the same time. Heisenberg stated the uncertainty principle is the consequence of dual behavior of matter and energy. It states that it is impossible to determine simultaneously the exact position and exact momentum or velocity of an electron. Electrons is the one we are talking here. We talk about particles, and mainstream will say there is no particles in homeopathic medicine. That's why we call it placebo. But certainly uncertainty principle says the exact position and exact velocity of electron is not known. Uncertainty principle statement explains that the position and the velocity of an object cannot both be measured exactly at the same time, even in theory. So that was the first piece of puzzle for me, for my research, which, as I said, this is almost 100 hours of course in my homeopathic program. I just had to kind of squeeze it and summarize it into just half an hour, which is sometimes impossible, but I try my best to bring my points out. So the second piece of puzzle that I'm going to talk about, right, is the Niels Bohr's radius. Both are quantum physicists. Dr. Heisenberg is a German quantum physicist, and Niels Bohr is a Danish quantum physicist. So these both pieces help me so much to really understand how homeopathy works. Again, there are two different things to prove. It works, yes, we have a lot of proofs in our clinical practice, but how it works, we need more proof. Heisenberg, German theoretical physicist, one of the main pioneers of the theory of quantum mechanics and a principal scientist in the Nazi nuclear weapons program during World War II. He published his undaunting paper in 1925, a major interpretation of old quantum theory. Niels Bohr proposed a theory for the hydrogen atom, which is one of the main things in a water memory, based on quantum theory that most physical quantities only take discrete values. Electrons move around a nucleus, but only in prescribed orbits, as if electrons jump to a lower energy orbit, the difference is sent out as light or energy. So the most related documents to help understanding homeopathy were these two pieces. Heisenberg theory and Niels Bohr theory helped me to come into connection with my research. If I have time, I would definitely talk about it more. So this is an icon of chemistry, the periodic table that we grew up with it. I remember from, a middle school, we started learning about periodic table of elements that known as icon of chemistry. It shows the properties of individual elements, such as their mass, electron number, electron configurations, and their unique chemical properties. There are almost 119 elements. They might have more by now, but by the time that I did my research, there were almost 119. So this periodic table that all of us, we know, it talks about mass, electrons number, electron configurations, and chemical properties. But it does not talk about orbits, orbitals, and how we can increase the numbers of electrons and how we can make more space on orbitals. This I cannot explain it. Quantum physics explains how the way the universe behaves at the scale of atoms and subatomic scale as electrons and photons. Quantum mechanics is a fundamental theory in physics that provides a description of the physical properties of nature at the scale of atoms and subatomic particles, which does not exist as a particle, but exists as a wave. This is the main aspect of my talk. So no areas of science could come to this conclusion that not necessarily you have to look for particles in order to be convinced that there is properties in some medicines such as homeopathy. Particle can change to waves. And actually, now they don't call it waves anymore, they call it quantum objects. So that's getting a little bit harder. But that quantum objects moves, they move, and they can go to interstitial tissues, they can go to the cells, they can regulate, they can make the cells, if they're malfunctioning, function. Those waves or objects, quantum objects, exist in homeopathic medicine. So, understanding quantum science, quantum energy, and quantum objects leading to understand homeopathy. Quantum science is one thing that you have to know as a whole. Quantum energy also is part of it, that to really understand, and also quantum objects. If you understand these three things, homeopathy is not a mystery and there is no puzzle. So when it comes to teaching it, I'm not going to be limited only on in my practical evidences, practical testimonials. I have to have enough data, enough backup science, enough knowledge to teach it. Otherwise, I don't teach anything. So this is a 100 hours course in my homeopathic diploma program. Modern quantum physics explain homeopathy, and it's my conviction. So generally, the knowledge of quantum principles transform the concept of atom, which consists of nucleus surrounded by electrons. So in a early quantum physics, they say there is a nucleus which is in the center of the atom, and the electrons, they're going around it. So early models in classical physics describes electrons as particles orbit the nucleus, much like the way satellites orbit Earth. This is called fixed orbitals. Now, new modern quantum physics discovered that differently is not the way that classical physics or even early quantum physics were explaining it. Modern quantum physics instead understand electrons as being distributed within orbitals, with the probability of the electron's existence in more than one location on different orbitals within the given range at any given moment. So if you see the slides on my right side, and you see the orbitals are going in a different area, in different directions. So this modern quantum physics discovered this, that is not only like satellite that goes around nucleus like this, it goes in a different directions. And we're having smaller orbitals, we're having bigger orbitals. The smaller orbitals with smaller electrons or at the ground states means you can detect particles. But the bigger orbitals, which they're further from the nucleus, they have more electrons, they're more giant in terms of space, right? They cannot be detected by as particles. They exist, but cannot be detected as particles. They can be detected only as quantum objects. So in this particular, I think all of you have seen this, that quantum physics is like a kind of signature for quantum physics, that a lot of orbitals, going around the nucleus in different directions. This explains homeopathy so well in terms of dilution and potentizations. When we dilute and potentize the substances, we get bigger orbitals and larger, more in terms of numbers, more electrons and much larger orbitals. That is way further, goes further from nucleus, much further from nucleus, that you cannot detect it as particles. So that's why the concept of more diluted, more potent, it means more powerful, comes into understanding, because you cannot detect the particles, but they are more potent because it's a bigger orbitals and way more electrons that they are on the orbitals. So what is the particle at the ground state? It's electrons. So how come you see the electrons on the ground state, which is the lower energy level, which we can find it in low potency of homeopathy, but you cannot find it in higher potency in homeopathic medicine because you cannot detect it. Quantum physics explains that electrons can jump from one orbital to another as they gain or lose energy, but they cannot be found between orbitals. Electrons jump from one orbital to another, losing or gaining energy. Lower orbitals losing energy, higher gaining energy. That's exactly explained the more diluted and more potentized homeopathic medicine, because they get energized, they jump to the bigger orbitals. They become energized, get to the higher orbitals. They go further and further and further and becomes giant. That's why we homeopaths have to be very careful with the dilutions, the highest dilutions of homeopathy, because they have way more electrons in that homeopathic medicine. That's why we always, in the beginning, they always told us, don't go more than 30 CH, because before 30 CH is ground states, you can detect particles. Right after 30 CH, which is 5F, you cannot find any particles. So that's why when gradually, we become more confident, then we went to 200 CH. Then we went to 1M. Then we went to 10M. Then we went to 50M. I stopped there. I just stopped there. I didn't go to 50M. But because I proved things on myself, I know how risky can be if you go with more diluted and more potent, because there are giant amount of electrons as quantum objects or as waves in the solution of homeopathic medicine. That's the reason the science of biology, chemistry, and classical physics are not able to explain homeopathy. The wave-particle duality is the main concept, one of the main concepts of quantum physics, and it's similar to uncertainty principles. The uncertainty principles of quantum physics just gave me a huge piece of puzzles. And the wave-particle duality is just been proven. So this principle goes back to the earliest days of quantum science. It describes the outcomes of experiments that showed that light and matter had the properties of particles or waves, depending on how they were measured. Homeopathic medicine cannot be measured by particles above the dilution of 30 CH. 30 CH is Hahnemannian dilutions. After that, you cannot. No one only, but there are new, kind of technology has come, which I can explain if I have time. My talk at the end of my talk, that there are new technology has proved that even the highest dilution of homeopathy has waves or quantum objects. So this principle dates, I think I'm repeating it, today based on quantum science evolution, because quantum science was a baby, was born from the mother of classical physics. Classical physics got stuck, but quantum physics came to rescue it and is evolving, The last 20 years that I started doing some research on quantum physics, oh my goodness, every day is evolving. Every day new pieces coming. Every day new data is coming. We understand that these different forms of energy are neither particles nor waves. So they're the newest, which I got it just maybe last year, that they don't call it waves anymore. They call it distinct quantum objects, which are too small that classical physics cannot precisely describe their behavior, and we cannot easily conceptualize them. So as you all know, the atom structures, so we don't have to go through atom structures, but that's how it works. Nothing changed from the classical physics to quantum physics in terms of structure. And the Bohr's radius, it's something that, again, that the second piece of the big piece of puzzles for me that explained it so well with the Niels Bohr theory. So it was very, very clear that how this theory can apply to homeopathy. So I think I already introduced Niels Bohr, proposed a model of atom in which the electrons was able to occupy only certain orbits around the nucleus. This atomic model was the first to use quantum theory that states the electrons were limited to specific orbits around the nucleus. So he came, and it was a revolutionary theory compared to even early quantum physics. In an atom, electrons negatively charged revolve around the positively charged nucleus in a definite circular path called orbits or shells. Each orbit or shell has a fixed energy, and these circular orbits are known as orbital shells. Niels Bohr presented with Ernest actually Rutherford in 1913. They presented the theory of the theory that the nucleus, the theory about electrons and nucleus, that before they said is like a satellite, the electrons orbiting like a satellite around the nucleus, but they came with the evolve theory that with the structure of solar system. So the Bohr radius is a physical distance approximately equal to the most probable distance between the nucleus and the electron in a hydrogen atom in its ground state. So this, as I said, this is part of my teaching, and I have to make it a little bit fast. Niels Bohr atomic model, that's how you can see it on the slides, that he divided that electrons revolve in a circular motion around the nucleus in a stable orbit without emission of radiant energy. Each orbit has a definite energy and is called an energy shell or energy level. So this, we have to go through it one by one in really to understand about the scientific science behind of dilution and potentization that Dr. Hahnemann discovered. So he did not know about this 200 years ago. He did not know that about this. This is just happened in 1913, but he knew it. It's, the wise doctor knew it, that there is something that it can be explained in the future. But I'm sure that if we go back to 200 years ago, he couldn't explain it back then. The only thing that he said, it's working. So Bohr model, it's made it very, very easy for me to understand that what the shell is, what the orbit is, what the orbital is, what the number of the shell is, how many electrons can go to the first orbitals, how many electrons can go to the second orbitals. And this gives me a clue that with the more dilution and more potentization, we can grow this model. We can grow this to more orbitals and more electrons than I explained to you earlier. So Dr. Rosenberg, you can stop me anytime if I have to stop, because I know that it's just 30 minutes.
You know, you are the chief. It's difficult to stop in this case.
So, okay, because
30 minutes, yes, I think when do you want to stop? Stop. It's not possible to say stop now.
Okay, because now I'm getting actually the main part of my talk. So far is just introduction to quantum physics and the models, but now I'm getting into homeopathic medicine. So as I said, I would like to go to the quantum physics periodic table. So earlier I showed you the chemistry periodic table. We call it icon of chemistry, but this is an icon of quantum physics. So this is one that I work with. I personally do not work with the icon of chemistry because we memorized it. We know exactly which element is where, which element is left, which element is right, which element is bottom, which element. Now, I work with orbitals. When there is a homeopathic medicine I want to study, I go to this periodic table, quantum physics periodic table, to understand what the dilution and potentization is. The energy orbital of that particular homeopathic medicine is. So, for example, the 5F, which is the bottom of quantum physics periodic table, we call it ground state. It means you can detect particles. So that's why, like homeopathic tissue salts, homeopathic 6CH, 12CH, 9CH, and even 30CH, it falls into the very bottom of quantum physics periodic table. But the more diluted, it comes higher, higher, and higher. So when I say 5F in my teaching, it means ground state. It means you can still detect particles. That's why a lot of medical doctors who come to our teachings, they stick with tissue salts because it's the convention that they are particles in it, or they stay with low potency homeopathic medicine because they still can detect particles. It gives them convection and clarity. But for homeopaths, they should know this for sure, that this icon of quantum physics is explaining it so well. So quantum physics explains homeopathic dilution. When I say quantum physics, I'm not talking about Einstein, because Einstein relativity could not explain it. I'm talking about the newest models, such as Niels Bohr and also uncertainty principles. It says the further the orbit, the bigger the space, the more electrons. So electrons are particles at the ground states. Electrons are waves or objects, quantum objects at higher orbitals or higher potencies. Electrons exist. Electron exists, but it depends on how you measure it. You measure it at the ground state, it shows you particles. You measure it at a way above ground state, it shows you quantum objects. So in this particular, electron loses energy and moves from higher to lower energy shell. So that's the reason homeopaths would not go from higher potency to lower potency. I don't prescribe 200 CH, then come back to 6 CH. I can prescribe 6 CH, go to 12 CH, 30 CH, and go to 200 and go to 1M. And that's how you don't want the life force of the patient jumps down to the lower energy level. Electron gains energy and moves from lower to higher energy. This explains how the homeopath's prescription should be. This discovery explains homeopathic dilutions very well. You want to stick with the ground state or particle states, stay with low potency, go with more frequent or more repetition. If you want to go higher potency, go above 30 CH, don't jump down, because the way you're doing it, the same thing you do to the vital force of the patients. So we're getting into laws of homeopathy. As you all know, the first law of homeopathy is law of similar, which like cures like, law of single remedy, law of proving, law of dilution and potentization, law of Herring's, and law of individualization and totality of symptoms. These are, we all know. You all know who Dr. Hahnemann is, who developed homeopathy and homeopathic medicine. He was a brilliant medical doctor and who abandoned his medical doctor, and he came and became a homeopath and 200 years ago. But again, homeopathy, it did not start from Hahnemann. Homeopathy has been around from the beginning of medicine. It goes back to Hippocrates. Hippocrates also mentioned in so many treatises about like cures like, and also another European person, Paracelsus, also talks about likes cure likes. But Hahnemann, it was the first one and the only one who brought it into action and brought it into a full-fledged system of medicine in one lifetime. So homeopathy first law proves that two similar diseases, one the natural disease which exists in the patients, and one artificial disease that is created by the homeopathic medicine, cannot coexist and remove each other. It's beautiful, and it's true, and it's very scientific. The second law always applies to almost all models, that a small dose stimulate, moderate dose inhibit, and lethal dose destroy. That's why homeopaths should be very, very keen and careful not to go very high dosage in a very low vital force. So it destroys the patient's vital force, because vital force of the patient is leaking out. You have to patch it up with accordingly. That's why we have to take the case to understand the patients. We do not cure the disease, we cure the patients. So we have to understand what the patient's totality of symptoms, including physical, emotional, mental, is operating. What's the manifestations of the disharmony, manifestation of the disease within that particular individual. So according to that, I never had done to go with 10M or 50M with the cancer patients. I don't, because the vital force has been leaking for God knows decades. So you have to be careful with the dosage and the potency. And I love Dr. Herring's, which the directions of the healings is amazing. In the beginning of my practice, I always follow Dr. Herring's, laws. to see that how it's manifesting in my patients. So, and gradually, I, kind of did not pay attention because I knew that is the law. And it works almost in everybody, that the healing direction is upward to downward, and within outward, and from more to less vital organs. So this is the Herring saying, and I've seen it many times in myself as well, in patients, that if there is any issues, such as in the head, in the brain, in the commander of the body, when they are treated by homeopathic medicine, the problem, the disharmony gradually comes down. Sometimes stays on the shoulder, then gradually goes to the elbows, then gradually goes to the knees, then gradually goes to the toes. And that's a direction that I personally proved it on myself, and it works. And also within, outside, outwards. So if there is any problem that is trapped because of suppressions, long-term suppression, is just coming out in a form of rashes, in a form of diarrhea, in form of vomiting, in a form of headache. It just comes out. And from more important organs such as brain, heart, to, I'm not saying less, but Dr. Herring's saying it less, but it doesn't mean less. It means comes to more elimination or emergence. That's my interpretations of that, because the skin is very important as heart. Digestion is as important as brain. But what Dr. Herring meant is coming from a more malignant, situation to less malignant or more benign situation, which can go to digestion, which can go to a skin. And also symptoms disappearing in the reverse order of their appearance. The last symptoms that you got it like a few days ago, or a month ago, or a year ago, compared to other symptoms that you got it 10 years ago, 20 years ago, goes first. Then gradually, the other symptoms. That's the art of treating chronic diseases. That's the art of treating chronic diseases, that tell the patients that the most recent symptoms goes first, then gradually we getting into the main disharmony, and we bringing the disharmony out. So homeopathic medicine are coming from different kingdoms, from mineral kingdoms, such as metals, such as cations, anions, salts, and acids. They come from plant kingdoms, that some plants are toxic, some plants are non-toxic. It doesn't matter the toxicity, because homeopathy is completely diluted and potentized. It comes from animal kingdoms, such as bees, such as snakes. It's come in a form of nosodes from the diseased tissues, in a form of sarcodes from healthy tissues, and from different sources such as radiations and music as well. So I can explain it to you, but sometimes music also can bring harmony into a disharmonious body as well. So I think I'm going to stop here, Dr. Rosenberg, because I don't want to get into the principles of productions of homeopathy. But the only thing I would like to say is it's about Avogadro number, that we all know what is Avogadro number is. So beyond Avogadro numbers, there is no particles. So homeopathic medicine are diluted beyond Avogadro's number. So there are devices such as transmission electron microscopy, or TEM. They're detecting the quantum objects in high diluted homeopathic medicine, and also electronic diffraction also refers to the bending of electron beams around atomic structures. This behavior, typical for waves, is applicable to electrons due to the wave particle duality states that electrons behave as both particles and waves. Bingo. So now technology, science is evolving and is telling us electrons can be particle and can be waves. Don't label homeopathy as placebo. So electron diffraction has shown that nanoparticles of the original substance are present in the homeopathic medicine as waves. Okay, my conclusion. Homeopathic medicine is not placebo. If the other branches of science are deficient in understanding the science of homeopathy, which is quantum physics, they must be stopped the conspiracy and making a wrong claim against homeopathy. Homeopathic medicine retained the original substance as nano-sized particle in a form of waves, despite being diluted beyond Avogadro's number. Water has memory and carries information of original substance. Water behaves differently according to the way it's programmed, energized, or charged. Laws and principles of homeopathy sustain the original medicinal property. Safety and efficacy of medicine proven through practicing it worldwide. Homeopathic medicine are powerful and activate the human body's healing ability. Science of biology can detect the curing effect of homeopathic medicine through biological functions and physiology in the pathways and the cells. There is light on homeopathy. Understanding the principles of quantum physics have brought light on understanding the concept of homeopathy, and it explains the science of holistic healing. The link between quantum physics and homeopathy exploring the concept of treating the person, not the disease. This is called the law of holism. Quantum Academy is offering diploma in homeopathy. We have 3 different levels. Level 1, level 2, level 3 is all classical homeopathy, and it's already started. And I am wishing that all these medical doctors who are joining us, joining homeopathic as well. And there is a conference coming in September 27, 28, 2024. It's an international conference in homeopathy. It's offered to all homeopaths, homeopathic students, homeopathic medicine manufacturers, and homeopathic medicine suppliers. So thank you so much, everyone, for your attention and to listening to my lengthy talk. But again, it's not my fault because it's a long, hours, of course, and I try to summarize it. If you have any questions, I'm open to questions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Parvin Zarrin, for your excellent presentation about the key role of quantum physics in the explanation of homeopathy. And I am sure in the next period, quantum physics in cooperation with artificial intelligence will give us a lot of explanations about homeopathy, about the potentialization of homeopathic remedies. So thank you again for your extraordinary presentation. And please, dear participants, to ask Dr. Parvin Zarrin about this very interesting presentation. Who want? Dr. Mila Emerald, please. You are a PhD.